Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Delaware Camera is your #1 spot for all your camera needs, education, accessories, printing, and more. Located at 2635 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. Visit cameraspot.com.
Hey, true believers, welcome to our Tuesday Tech Talks. Anyway, I said that wrong. Then I gave a Debbie Orange laugh after it. Anyway, welcome to our latest episode. Which one is this, Will? What number are we on? 59. A year and 7 episodes. So excited. I'm here with Kenny because we're going to talk about something in a minute. But we're going to do some housekeeping first. Classes. We have our online classes still doing those classes with the f-stops here. Joe Close. Coming up, not tomorrow. What?
I messed up.
What's up?
I put up the wrong name.
All right. Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. He has a week off this week. We had macro last week, composition next week. Then we have, I think, photo 101 after that. But check the schedule. It's on the website. Go to cameraspot.com. You click the link for classes, or if you see the picture there, you can click the QR code as well, which is a cool thing as well. So we have classes as usual. We're upstairs. We're doing some store rearranging, making our rental section better. Doing some other rearranging, making our video section stronger. We're doing a lot of cool stuff in the store. So keep an eye out for improved efficiency and quality in the store. Anyway, we're gonna talk middle. We're gonna talk about a cool thing that Kenny is here to talk about with me as well. Before we start talking about the DJI Mic, which is what we're here to talk about, really. Me and Kenny, we play in bands. We both have a little band thing going on. I have my band, and Kenny has Kenny's band. What's your band called, Kenny?
My band is called Makeout Tactics.
Really?
Yeah,
I knew
what's
that.
your band called?
My band's called Hold Out.
Sweet.
And we were talking. We don't ever play shows, and we were like, let's do a show together. Like have like a kind of a Delaware Camera like fest type thing where all the bands playing kind of have an association with Delaware Camera. Not all of them, but most of them do. So a week from Saturday, April 29th, we are having a show. Where are we having it, Kenny?
It's Area 54.
It is.
Which is it joined to Amy's Place, so it's a cool community space.
Yeah.
You should come out and check out some music, and also support Amy's Place as well.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a little window into Amy's Place where you can get some refreshments, maybe
And food.
maybe some food.
You can get some food. Amy's Place is great. What's up, Dean? Yeah, it's vegetarian, but anyone can eat vegetarian. So eat vegetarian or vegan, or I don't know. Is Amy's Place all vegan or just
I
vegetarian?
think it's all vegan now. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Support
burger
that.
and-
A lot of great vegan restaurants in the area. Yeah. Yeah, support all the vegan restaurants in Buffalo because they're popping up. Sunshine Vegan Eats, Strong Hearts, tons of vegan places in Buffalo, which is freaking awesome. So it's last night songs. My band Hold Out, Kenny's band Makeout Tactics. Fatal Visions is playing. They're a hardcore band that features former employee Jeff Barnes' son, Ethan, playing guitar. He's also a pretty accomplished photographer as well. And the opening act is Curtis Henry, who, if you come into the store, you've seen Curtis's long flowing hair helping you out in the store. So it's gonna be great. He's gonna play an acoustic set first, so it's gonna be fun. So next Saturday, April 29th, we're gonna have a show at Area 54 right next to Amy's Place. So after we go to a break, we're gonna come back and talk about the DJI Mic. So we'll see you in a minute. All right, we're back. So, when you think of DJI, what do you think of? What do you think of, Dean?
I think of a brand that's been dominant in the drone industry for at least a decade or so.
Drones.
And
What else they got?
I'm just too loud. I don't think they do it like that, though.
They've got gimbals.
They also got gimbals. That's probably been their second biggest thing that they have really kind of
Yeah.
established in the market. Especially. Stop. They also, especially in terms of gimbals, one of their most popular gimbals is also not just a gimbal but also a camera. They're Ronin 4D,
Which we do have in stock. We should have brought that up.
They do have in stock? No, because you with Ronin.
I would have gently handed that to Will.
I don't know.
I think Will's gonna go grab it. But yeah, so
But
tell us about that Ronin though, real quick while we're
yeah,
here.
that Ronin 4D was, pretty much an accumulation of a lot of work that DJI has been doing with mobile gimbals and for combining, GoPro style cameras with those mobile phones, and they eventually decide, all right, how can we integrate, this style of putting an actual camera sensor on a gimbal itself and just making the camera the gimbal, and that's literally what the 4D is.
Yeah.
And now, like, especially with the additions that they've made in the past year, like, it is an entire ecosystem opposed to just being a gimbal and a camera. You can take the gimbal off the camera body and use a 30-foot.
Oh, you can do that?
I didn't know that. There was actually an update last year. I forget the actual word for it, but it pretty much uses. It's pretty much like almost like an SDI cable, an image input cable, where it literally you can actually take the head of the gimbal and take it off and use it like a regular handheld gimbal.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And you actually have the body separately recording all the way through the cable. Last year, you can actually wirelessly.
Looks like Will brought it up here.
So to have a picture reference of what we're talking about, go to the 4D.
Producer Will on the case.
So, in terms of it being an ecosystem, now the monitor can actually be upgraded to have a completely wireless interface with it towards the body. So you can actually have take the control handles that come with the body. So you have a left and right control handle that can actually be now attached to the handle or the monitor, and the monitor can actually have, I think it's a pretty huge range. Like it's like they claim it's like 1,000 yards clear sight. That you can actually have control and clear signal with the monitor to the camera. So with that, between that, the tethering cable that allows you to remove the gimbal, now they also have like DJI is now part of the L Mount Alliance.
L Mount Alliance.
They've been developing zoom lenses that are specific for this camera, and then there's going to be a few amount of actual Sigma mount L lenses that are going to get compatibility with this. I'm pretty curious on what lenses they're going to keep coming out with this, as a lot of L mount lenses are usually pretty heavy, but with this gimbal system, it really is all in one. There was some issues with ProRes RAW being taken out of this camera when it first came out, which kind of took away part of its value, but now DJI has figured out all that legality issue stuff, and you actually can buy ProRes RAW as a firmware upgrade for this camera.
So it comes with everything except for the lens, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It comes with the LiDAR, the gimbal head is all included. Now that separate mount where you can detach it and everything, that and replace it with that cable system, that is now all sold separately. So this is the original base 6K kit that we have in stock. With the original handles, and the actually does have a V-mount battery pack.
Cool.
That is compatible with other things besides the actual camera itself. You can use it with anything else in your system that is V-mount.
Very nice.
So yeah.
So that's the Ronin.
So
the monster.
All the things that DJI are kind of branching out to doing. To me personally, I think one of the best things that they decided to branch out into was an audio device.
DJI Mic.
And so DJI, much like the 4D, they kind of said, all right, let's look at everything we've accumulated in terms of knowledge and feedback from people. Let's see what's in the market right now and what is really not in the market. What have people kind of been asking for out of competitors? And that's kind of what the DJI does. in terms of features and just, you know, the accessories it includes. The charging case is going to be a big thing that I talk about for the next few minutes. But yeah, it really is kind of just like an all-in-one solution to almost any kind of style of shooting, regardless of what genre of work you do.
So before you start talking about it, you start talking, oh, you got a video going.
Oh yeah. So I guess kind of like so.
Well, sorry. Before you start talking about it, though.
Yeah.
So I know when this came out, you were like, I need to get that. What prompted you to be like, I need that microphone?
Because there was a lot of things out in the market, like I was saying, like Rode, which we were talking about last week. They have one of the most popular wireless systems, Rode Go, and kind of what the DJI does is kind of just adds a few features, or just kind of I don't want to say, but pretty much makes a few features and makes a few changes that kind of checks off all those things that were really missing from the Rode Go system, and kind of puts it in a very similar price point, and adds more to it, which is actually the big thing. So I think the charging case and just the internal recording features is just one of the many things it does. But yeah, with that mic, I mean, I usually am presented on the show as a sports videographer and stuff like that. And so sports and audio venues like basketball arenas, like big open fields is pretty important. But I also do like creative stuff, like, you know, sometimes I shoot live shows with local artists and stuff like that. And with the DJI mic, with its versatility, it was actually able to help me do this one rehearsal video that I did 2 weeks ago with an artist, and actually helped me kind of do natural sound audio and exclusive audio. So I'll have that now show to the viewers. Yeah, so with that edit of the video, with that one take we did with this artist, whose name is Built by Pro Social, by the way, really wanted to emphasize his vocals. So with that, I had a microphone, as you can kind of see, right pinned to his shirt, and then I also had a microphone on the back counter right next to their monitor speaker that they were using, as well as the drum set. And so with having those two, I was able to have just a natural kind of like main room sound audio with, you know, the drums, and just a monitor audio that had the bass and the guitar in it, and the backtrack. And then I also had that mic, as you saw right there, pinned to his chest with actually the magnet that comes with the DJI. And I'll talk about that in a sec, but that allowed me to kind of like, you know, turn off, well, let me backtrack on that. With having those two mics in two different places, and with what comes with the DJI mic, I'm actually able to, you know, make it record in stereo. So I actually have control of those two microphones left and right. So I can actually have separate audio control over two different completely mics, all in the same system, which is nice. If I, for that video type, I wanted to really, you know, bring down the background music and everything, kind of just really emphasize on the artist's vocals, because that was a big thing, is with this show that he did, that was later on this week, that was his first show he did with a live band. He's always done it with, you know, a backtrack, and that was his first time performing, you know, with actual other people on stage with him. So that was a pretty cool thing to try to emphasize in that trailer I did for him. So to kind of talk about the...
Well, quick question though.
Yeah, go for it.
So this has the two mics and then the receiver here, right? So what you're saying is you can take the two microphones and have them be like a left and a right?
Yep.
That's cool.
So I can kind of get into that. So right as you open up the box, right as you open it up, they're automatically syncing because they use Bluetooth frequencies instead of radio frequencies. So you never have to actually manually sync them, because of the software that they're using that comes with them. They are always going to automatically sync. And that is even the case with the single sets that they now sell, because they now sell this as a single pack with just one and the other. You actually can buy a third one later, or a second receiver or a second transmitter later on, and you actually can sync those up pretty easily. But in terms of making them left and right, you can actually have it, if you pull these out and actually turn the mic on. I'll show you, Mark, just so I have the mics on the table here, or on this box. You can actually pull the settings down here, and then you have the very first setting you actually pull up is mono, and you can actually set.
Screen?
Yep,
Oh.
it's actually all little touchscreen. This is your entire interface for controlling the microphones. There are no real controls on here except unless you have the record button, the power button, and then the sync button. But you pretty much never have to use that sync button unless you are intentionally unsyncing these, or like I said earlier, you're pairing them for the first time ever. And so with the DJI mic, you have mono, and then you also have stereo, and you actually can choose left to right, and you can actually swap which mic is in which channel, which is nice. And mono, there's even a mono safety channel, so it actually records 2 channels of mono, so that way you actually have, you know, a safety track for that, which is cool. And then everything about this mic, just having the settings all right there on the screen, opposed to having to take the mic away from the chute, for example, and go plug it into a computer to go make those adjustments in terms of gain and stuff like that, the low cut. Being able to do that all right here, especially for the transmitters, like that is the biggest thing, especially in terms of shooting sports, is your audio levels are always going to change. You can't always predict what's going to happen. So with that, being able to not only control the gain of the receiver itself right on the touchscreen, but you actually control the gain of the transmitters wirelessly right from here. So you can actually not only turn off a low cut on the microphones, but you actually control each gain separately for each microphone, which is huge, especially if you have, for example, left and right track audio. Is one audio source can always be incredibly louder than the other. Or, for example, if you have a 2-person interview, you could have someone who's very loud and just someone that has a naturally higher volume in their voice than someone who talks quiet. You can make those micro adjustments. And then, of course, you can actually not only do that, you can actually record. So if I'm holding this up, you can actually, it was actually that one. I had it backwards. You can actually have the transmitters record internally. And both of these have up to 16 hours of internal storage, and they both come out of the device. So if you actually want to access those internal files, you actually literally just plug it in USB-C, and it literally comes up like an SD card or whatever.
What type of file format is that?
So they come in as a MP3.
Okay.
And I think there's, where was the one settings? Can control the brightness of the files. Link device, language state, factory reset. There is a firmware update where you actually can turn off these little green lights on the transmitters to turn them off. But those green lights, you can actually have them in dim mode, so they're actually pretty low right now. So for example, like if I were to go all the way into the settings, where is it? Right here. That's my screen brightness. Oh yeah, there's just everything is right here on this tiny screen, so it does, take a while to go through it just because it all is right there. But in terms of the way it's explained and simplified on screen, like it's really easy to navigate and figure out where everything's going to be in terms of that. And then you can actually mute each one from it's here. You can actually format each storage device wirelessly, which is actually pretty interesting. And then I guess the biggest thing for me is the charging case. It's like an AirPod case, and it has its own battery life, and it actually has 2 out of 4 dots. I probably haven't charged this in 2 weeks. Like, really? I've used this I was using this all day for a softball doubleheader, and then a couple days later, I was using it all night at a concert shoot, and I never charged the hard case, but it always kept these fully charged, and it only took probably 50% of the charging case's battery. It says it has about 15-hour battery life. Is that like as charged, fully charged, or? I would say that's probably just for the, that's definitely for the, that's probably 15-hour battery life. That's probably like 15 hours of charging it from like charging like the devices.
Okay.
So anytime it's actually like, let's say all the devices are like at 0, it's probably 15 hours of charging time.
Okay.
So once
that makes sense.
So like once these individual devices are at like 100%, they're not drawing any power. So like this guy's battery life has clearly been for weeks.
Yeah.
Because most of these guys, once they get to 100 charge, this is just sitting idle and ready to sync up once you pull it out of the box. It does have, which is a really nice feature that a lot of people, especially nowadays in terms of TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Live, everyone that's doing social media nowadays, is the input. You can actually take off this little clip that lets you put the receiver on your on your camera, and actually allows you to put it right into your phone, and it actually works pretty seamlessly in terms of how it supports audio. Phone support, it only does allow for mono, so you can't do the left-right jack with this attachment, opposed to doing the aux output. But with that, I would say it still is a really good way to add professional audio to your setup, especially if you're.
Is there a way to connect that to your phone wirelessly?
There is not.
Okay.
So it's only hard outputs only through the 3.5 millimeter jack or the mobile attachments.
Okay. Cool. So we asked what why you bought it. You told us a little bit about it. So let's say I'm like at an event and I want to isolate one person. Like I want one person's audio, not the other audio of everything else going on around me. How does this give you an advantage as far as doing that?
I mean, with its wireless system and everything, and the built-in mics, this has a lot of options with that. So one, the built-in mics I think are really clean. That video preview we showed you guys earlier, that was all just the built-in microphones. There is a 3.5 millimeter jack in here, so you can input lobs like we're wearing right now, and like how you're hearing us talk. You could very well do that as well. If you wanted that type of audio, I think the omnidirectional mic built in is pretty sound. If you are going to use it outside and travel and stuff like that, it actually does come with little dead cats, or
very cool,
little, whatever you want to call them, dead mice, whatever you want to call it. They actually lock in.
Yeah.
And you actually can see a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers actually using the system as their main, like, kind of like their product review. A lot of videographers that do like Potato Jet. I forget what those two guys are called. That always do reviews.
Potato Jet?
Yeah, no, there's the two guys. The one guy, like two guys that always do products. I forget. The one guy with the beard and the one guy. Review? DP Review, yes. The guys from DP Review, they actually use this.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
No, DP Review got shut down, allegedly.
They got, like, what do you mean they? But anyway,
I'm sure I think someone will bring that back. I think they're working for Petapixel now, those guys. So
I think
cool.
People are going to keep the forum. I think
yeah,
that's what they were saying.
The forum is cool. If you ever need information with camera stuff, first place look DP Review forums. It's great.
Yeah. So when it comes to like an interview, for example, or like not an interview, a live show.
Yeah.
When someone's moving, usually getting the mic on the person so they can stay with them and move with them is going to be a big thing for an event. If it's an interview, for example, or a specific area that you're trying to cover, then you have a lot more options with that. But let's say you're still at an event, for example, and you're trying to cover, let's say you have enough mic lines that you want to be able to get a mic on the drummer area, for example, you can put any kind of like directional mic, but as long as you can adapt it into this, and then you can get clean signal into your camera, you with your camera have free realm to move wherever, and you can actually have that specific mic that you have stationary set up. So that's what was the biggest thing with that, is I wanted to record the audio into my camera, but I wanted my camera to be moving around as much as possible.
Okay.
So that was the big thing. Big example of that where I'm moving around all the time, but I want like a specific area. This Sennheiser MKE 600 that I use. For example, I shot a hockey tournament, college hockey championship a couple weeks ago, and I wanted the bench area specifically shot up. So I actually had this clamped on top of the glass between the benches.
Yeah.
I had it pointing right at the coaches.
Yeah.
And I had this little guy right on there, and then
that's cool.
Literally just used a regular cold shoe clamp there, and another clamp here, then to actually mount it onto the glass. And then I had this was all it took for me to get wireless audio, very directional, pretty much cut out all the hockey cussing, all the fans banging on the glass and everything like that. Really just kept it lightweight too, because I was clamping it on top of glass where people are banging it, the players could be banging it.
Yeah.
I wanted it to not be too top heavy at all, and that was the really big thing about the DJI mic is sometimes you will see, transmitters that are like a whole pack and stuff like that. This weighs out almost absolutely nothing. This I probably would have to get like 10 of these to maybe match the weight of the mic itself.
Yeah.
So with that, the DJI mic worked flawlessly. And especially with like a hockey venue, like if I'm like going into the tunnel, having the DJI mic be in a stereo left and right track is super useful. Because one, if I'm running into the tunnel, this microphone, because with the DJI mic, it has, I think, really good range. Especially, I think it's like probably like 200 yards clear sight. But once you are kind of past that 50 yards, and you're going through, like 12 inches of cement or concrete or any kind of steel like that, there's definitely going to be a loss of signal. So like if I'm chasing a team into the locker room, I can just turn this audio off the moment I go into the locker room, and I don't have to have that signal loss, interfere with the audio I'm recording on camera. This is just a nice way to have that audio in a separate track, I can use, later on for, like miking up the coach, for example, is like a big thing in college sports.
So slightly off topic, do a lot of people like mix stuff like this? Like I would figure you would either buy that microphone or that microphone. Are a lot of people putting stuff together?
See, that was kind of the big thing of why I wanted to use the DJI mic was kind of like one of the reasons I wanted to buy it was to mix it because I've had this MK600 mic for quite a while now, and I've used it for interviews, general, just general audio sports. I've been using it as a boom mic a lot of times for a lot of interviews, just because it is a really clean audio base or just clean feed, and just the way it works and as a shotgun mic, in terms of being able to pick out certain things, like for example. There's a lot of cussing in college sports, especially on benches, and so being able to get the audio, of like the coach, like especially in like the huddle, like trying to rally up the team and stuff like that, or anything like that. Like having this kind of microphone really served me well with that, and then being able to just put it wirelessly, was great because the biggest difference was So the hockey series, for example, the first series I did, there was one weekend and another one the next weekend. The first weekend, I put one of these just right on the glass, taped it right behind the coach, and I heard everything. I heard the announcer. I heard the puck on the ice. And I also heard the players behind them. I heard the stands. I heard the crowd in the stands going crazy, banging on the glass. All the stuff I also didn't need to hear at all. I could barely hear the coach over any of that other stuff. I switched it up to having this on the coach and just leaving one of these on my microphone, and that served me way better because I wanted that cleaner audio of just the coach in one track, and then it was better to have my camera, for example, me shooting near the crowd, so I could have a more omnidirectional mic picking up that general crowd sound, opposed to trying to pick up that general sound of a hockey bench, because especially in hockey, a player is going on and off the ice like every 5 seconds. That opening and closing of the gate of that metal hatch, opening and closing, absolutely horrible. So definitely trying to pick that away as best as possible, something like that. So go ahead.
Before we go, tell me about the magnets on there.
Oh yeah, these magnets are actually like really actually like strong. Like I actually lost these for a while because because they were lost on my keys. They were actually like on my keys for a minute because I had them in the same pocket for a minute, and they literally like went away from my bag, like into the keys because I put these. I didn't have them on them because usually anytime I'm putting these on my camera, I put these away because that way they won't like just like fall off the rig, for example. I always usually keep them in the case, for example. That one time I didn't, they went right to my keys, like through a bag and stuff like that. I couldn't find them for like 8 hours.
Does it come with those?
The magnets? Yeah. That is a thing I do have to say with the DJI is they actually don't sell any replacement accessories for a lot of this stuff. Yeah. So like, for example, this is the little clip that lets you put it on like a cold shoe, for example. A lot of people are saying that theirs broke like the first week they got theirs, and they went to message CGI, and DJI's like, well, we don't make replacements.
To buy another one.
So you had to buy, pretty much had to buy a whole nother set to get the replacement parts. So hopefully DJI will service that, or
I'm sure they will. It's a new product. Sooner.
Yeah, because with it, it's been such a successful product. Because with that, I mean, everything about this, you know, the construction quality of the charging case is good. The bodies of the transmitters are really good. Like I would even call these scratch resistant because I've had talent drop these on me before, but I've handed it to them just because it's so small, and there literally is not a dent on these once yet. And I've actually had, like I said, talent drop these, so I'm actually pretty proud of these.
Nice.
Holding up the paces.
Very cool. So I guess you would definitely recommend this to someone else.
Oh yeah, no, like I definitely I've really pushed to get these in the store because these are just really easy mics to, you know, for people, any kind of person who's getting into interviews, sports, live shows. Like there's always going to be a way you can use these kind of mics and actually, you know, be very happy with them. In terms of the sound quality, the power, just everything about them is just awesome. Yes.
Can you use, if I'm doing a podcast, could I have 2 sets?
Could you have 2 sets? And
I mean, for different people? Yeah, can you mic up a bunch of different people with them?
You can, but in terms of the individual like receivers, they're limited to 2 channels. So you could have 2 operating, and what people have said is that they don't interfere with each other at all in terms of the Bluetooth. So there's no, like, at least from everything I've seen online, people using them in the same room, no one has gotten any kind of interference issues whatsoever. At least from what I've seen so far. You know, so I'm sure someone out there is going to find a way to, you know, find that kind of frequency issue, but so far
sure there's 5 videos about it already.
I'm sure.
Well, that was awesome. Thanks for telling us all about your favorite product in the store. I think it's your favorite. Probably. Or one of your favorites.
Yeah, this is, in terms of like anything I bought, this is easily like, just in terms of like, I think, probably just best value thing I've ever gotten. In terms of features it comes with, I could probably say this is definitely the best like value thing I've gotten.
Cool. Yeah, and we got those. We've got those Rode Go's. They're a similar product as well. So if you're looking for something like that, we have a bunch of stuff like this in the store. So feel free to stop in, check it out. I can tell you about them. Dean can tell you about them. Anyone in the store can tell you about them. And check them out. I mean, it's a really cool product. If I needed a microphone for stuff, I would probably buy one of these based on Dean's recommendation. So we will, thanks. I appreciate it. We're going to see y'all next week, Artist of the Month, next Tuesday. So stop back next Tuesday noon, and we will see you then. Peace. Thanks, Dean.
Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Delaware Camera is your #1 spot for all your camera needs: education, accessories, printing, and more. Located at 2635 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. Visit cameraspot.com.